Those recent computer errors, outages, and blue screens of death took over the internet like in one day. And I want to record this video not to give some kind of very technical and geeky nerd analysis, but to give you some hope. I want this video to be rather hopeful and inspirational to any of you, whether you have experienced this crowd fire or not, whether you work in a corporation or if you have a business or if you are creative. I want to show you something about the state of technology that may not be obvious, but I think is important and an important lesson to learn after this series of errors. I guess you remember that Y2K crisis that never happened. You know, 20 years ago there was this Y2K crisis, a concept that never actually happened, that when a new millennia will start, there will be constant computer errors coming and most of computers will suddenly fail. And funny enough, it never became a thing. Now we just have an aesthetic called Y2K, and this became kind of a meme. It wasn't a problem at all. But what we have today, recently, is literally that. We literally had those mistakes and outages on millions of gadgets of different businesses, of different individuals, and many of you have experienced this as well. Now it affects a lot more than it would affect 20 years ago or 25 years ago. Now any business is very dependent on computers, on how good do their employees' computers work. So yes, it really truly affected, like from the airports when a lot of planes didn't start flying, to hospitals when a lot of patients couldn't be cured in the right time, to a lot of banks and banking systems when a lot of transfers couldn't happen in a very short period of time. But it's shown how fragile our technology is, and how this take will be quite obvious when we have something more centralized, one piece of technology, one piece of a patch software. If we overly rely on it, it may cause a lot of problem, because suddenly it may stop working and then all of our computers stop working. But when you think of technology, much better approach would be to think not just of digital technology. And when I talk about decentralization of technology, I mean that it's also a good idea to decentralize what kind of technologies do we use overall as people. For hundreds of years, for thousands of years, humans have been using a lot of analog technologies, a lot of non-digital technologies, and just in last decades we started to think that technology, it's like in our phones or in our computers, and of course some technical startups do technologies, and some large technical corporations do technologies, but not scientists, not creatives, not inventors, not even engineers often. Most people do associate technology now with those digital devices, and that by itself is a centralization of technology overall, because those kind of technologies are very fragile, and there may be various scenarios. There may be a computer virus that spreads all over the world. There may be an error in software like this. There may be other kind of problem. There may be some outbreak on the sun, as many people theorize now. It may also happen and result in outages all over the world and all over the industries that we have. And all of this may drastically change our civilization, like in a couple of days, in a week. What do I think about it is that decentralization is not just about any certain piece of software. It's about approach to technology, to what we call technology, and on how dependent we are on those kind of technologies. For the last 10 years, I've been exploring technologies that are based on handwriting, and those are technologies that span over thousands of years. And what strikes me is how less developed are they in comparison to all other kinds of technologies, technical things, inventions. for hundreds of years, we use basically all the same instruments, all the same techniques, all the same technologies when it comes to writing, when it comes to how and what we write. And we transferred this approach to digital world as well, and it's very limiting. And while other kinds of analog technologies, from photography to painting to engineering to architecture, while a lot of different toolboxes that people can build have developed, writing as a technology has remained stagnant for a couple of centuries at least. But that is going to change, and I now see how it changes. Many people all over the world do now make those changes like on a very small level. And what I'm now trying to do is a physical operating system that is based on handwriting, on various forms of writing. And for me, the idea that I do myself and that people around me also started to do is to replace a lot of our applications in our phones with something very simple and handwritten. We may use a lot of different formats of writing, and not just writing as well. That's just about replacing our screen time and phone usage with something more tactile, something more physical. Often it's based on writing and handwriting, but it also shouldn't be. It's not dogmatic, and it's about building a system of many different tools that may be useful. But it's important not to be centralized on the technology as well, and that's what I now started to understand quite well too. So the idea is to use a lot of different clusters of technologies for different purposes. And there are, of course, tasks, especially collaborative tasks, where digital technologies are the best, where they provide a lot of value. But also there is no need to sit behind the screen for 9 or 10 hours. Many of those things may be just made much better and in a much more fun way, just on paper, just when writing by hand. I literally now develop a system on how to do almost any task on paper. For me, it's very meaningful, because in this time of computer crises, when we have shortages of computer parts, of graphic chips, of processors, when economic situation is unstable, when geopolitical situation is also unstable all over the world, and especially in part of the planet where I live in, I understand well that I myself can't 100% rely on the fact that now this digital technology, this piece of tech that I'm recording this video on, will certainly work in a year or two or in 5, and that I will have a replacement exactly like this. So to practice different ways of doing things, to practice various ways of making tasks in a better way, to live a curious life where you can choose how and what to do, when you don't rely on a very small singular piece of tech that you may not even understand exists. I think that it's a very important lesson that we should learn from this situation. And it's very hopeful, because I see how this lesson is literally learned. I saw a couple of people, very public people, that spoke very similar things to what I'm speaking now. People are not just speaking about the way that those small technologies should be decentralized. It's often about our over-reliance on digital technology. That's the main thought of this video. I like digital technology as well. It's important. It allows to do a lot of things. It's how I now talk to you. But we shouldn't be lost in it. We shouldn't think that it's the only way to do things. And when this kind of blue screen of death all over the world comes, when suddenly many of our computers start to break and dysfunction, people suddenly remember how to use a notebook in whatever way. Whether you write just line by line, or whether you use different various interesting formats of writing. And it's now seen very well. I hesitated to record this video because this technical kind of thing is not what I am specialized at. But I wanted to give this kind of perspective to this problem that we suddenly started to have. I don't know when we will have a similar situation and whether we will, but still this thought of decentralizing our tech usage remains very important. Thank you that you watched this video till the very end. There is rain coming now, so I probably should hide somewhere. There is a Calendly link in the description of this video. It's a talk with me. You can talk and we can discuss both how to implement different kinds of technologies, from writing by hand in different ways to artificial intelligence, because I'm also quite an expert in it, to media technologies and making films, because I'm making films for the last 10 years, filmmaking, editing, and producing videos and animations. And I would just love to chat with you and to know you better. And if there will be something that I can help you with, I will also be happy to do that. So thank you that you watched this. Click that Calendly link. Let's talk. And of course, subscribe. I'll see you in next videos. Goodbye.